When you need advice, come to Ben and Kelly. It's group therapy on 99.7 DJX.
Nicole writes, hey, Ben Kelly, my 6-year-old was at the neighbor's house playing on a plastic slide and broke it.
Whoop.
I don't know exactly how it happened, but they said he broke it. They want us to buy them a new one. But about a month ago, their son was at our house and broke a vase of mine, which is a lot more expensive than a slide. It's worth a lot more.
Okay.
I never said anything. Do I bring it up now? Are we even? What would you do in my situation?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would bring up the vase now because that looks weird.
Yeah, unless she's just trying to prove a point. Like, hey,
we're even.
I didn't want to say anything, but this happened. I was just like, kids are kids. Things happen. It's an accident. I know he didn't mean to do it on purpose.
I would almost take a different approach, and I would probably just file that away. Find maybe a slide, and maybe take the bullet on the slide, but then it's like, I'm watching you, Wazowski, and it's all right. The next time something happens, it's on.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so then Julie says on Facebook, kind of wondering why this is even a topic. Your statute of limitations seems to have passed. Now it looks like you're just being petty. If you bring it up now, just buy the slide. A lot of people are throwing the P word around. Petty.
Oh, petty?
Yes.
Yeah, I do see how that the optics on that could look like you're being petty.
Yeah, Kathy, you sound like a petty Betty right now.
Mm-hmm.
Petty Betty. Kara said, I'd replace the slide, but I think I need to know a little more. For instance, was the slide broken as a result of the child doing something they were told not to do? That's a great learning situation for your child.
That's true.
Do some chores to earn the money to help pay for it. Or if it was just strictly a straight up accident, then they should just let it go. Things happen. But when all is said and done, you live next door to these people, and keeping your peace is priceless.
That last sentence there is important.
That's a really good point.
How much do you want to ruffle the feathers and get into a little neighbor war over a slide?
Neighbor wars are not fun.
No, exactly. And she brings up a good point that I didn't think of. It's like, how was the slide broken? Was it just an accident? Were kids just being kids and
or was it being used the way it was meant to be used and it just broke?
Yeah.
Because, that wasn't, again, now if the kid was roughhousing and using it in a way that they shouldn't have, or being too rough with it or whatever, then okay, you can assume some responsibility.
But yeah, I don't think I'm going to shoot back with, well, I had a vase that was worth way more than this slide, and
but I didn't ask you to pay for it.
Right. Yeah. I think I'm not bringing that up. I'm not bringing that up if I were you.
Yeah. Elizabeth said, well, the fact you didn't bring it up when it happened to them will make it seem like you're making it up so you don't have to pay for the slide. I get it.
Yeah, it does.
But at the same time, if they're wanting you to pay for a plastic slide, I can imagine the reaction if you try to tell them something that happened beforehand and just now mentioning it. I would have said something to them when the vase was initially broken, but I'd ask them how old that slide was to begin with for it to be easily broken.
Okay.
Like, is it just, eroded over time? Just got weak because it's been out in the weather for a couple of years, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Plastic can break down.
Are we just saying get a slide and worry about the other stuff later?
Yes, but I loved Kara's point of this could be a learning moment.
Sure.
So if the child was like roughhousing, doing something over the top that they shouldn't have, that's a good learning moment, and then helping your child help take responsibility for the role in it. And maybe do some chores around to help pay for it.
Nicole texts in and says, replace the slide and then buy your son a bigger, better slide and just call me Betty. All right, I like that. All right.
I like that too.
Well, there you go. I think the jury has come up with a verdict, and let's not bring up the vase. Could be a learning experience.
Right. If that happens in the future, if you want, bring that up in the moment when the vase breaking happens.
Yeah, but you can't bring it up now because you're just going to look petty Betty.
Exactly.
All right. Now, that being said, what's the most expensive thing your kid has broken? Okay.
Oh, let's just make it worse. Let's rub salt in the wounds.
Would love to hear your story. All right. 502-795-1997. Yep. Joel, it involves a car. All right.
Uh-oh.
We'll get to his story coming up. All right. So after Nicole's kid broke a neighbor's slide and their kid broke Nicole's vase, we decided what's the most expensive thing your kid broke would be a good topic to get into.
Why not? Let's hash it out. Maybe make you feel a little bit better about your situation.
Joel said, my parents informed me that when I was 3, I wanted to assist my dad to wash our car, but couldn't find a sponge. So I grabbed a brick off the street and washed the car with that.
Oh, that is not
scrapey. Looks square. Should work.
Probably got the dirt off, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably effective in that way.
Most expensive thing your kid has broken.
Jennifer, 2 things. In the late 90s, I ruined the VCR by feeding it a PB&J sandwich. I mean, it's perfect. It was the perfect size.
Right.
Slot.
Right.
Put a sandwich in, right? And my iPad was broken when my kids used it as a Frisbee.
Oh, yeah, that's an expensive Frisbee.
It's an expensive Frisbee.
Right.
Probably harder to catch.
Robert said, my son was about 8 years old when he was waiting in the car for me. He removed a little clump of dried mud from the sole of his shoe and inserted it into the ignition of my car because, well, no one knows why, including himself.
Okay.
I happened to glance at him after an hour of the car not starting.
Oh, gosh.
And I noticed the look on his face that was like, I'm guilty AF. I don't recall how much it cost to dismantle and clean the ignition, but I can tell you it was expensive.
Wow. Just from a little lump of dried mud.
Well, yeah. So he, if it's not a push start car.
Right. And you had to put a key inside the ignition.
That's a perfect spot for a little clump of dirt.
That's a tough spot to get to.
That's where intrusive thoughts get you.
Oh, 1,000%.
He's like, I wonder if that will fit.
Looks like it did. Turns out it did.
Right. Turns out it did.
Okay.
Amy said, my son, after his adoption, decided to use a toy as a gavel, like the judge on his tablet, and cracked the screen.
Oh, dang it.
This cord is in order. Crack, crack, crack.
Oh, oopsie daisies.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, Mommy. Oh, Allison, I've spent so much on phones and iPads. I could probably buy a brand new car off the lot by now.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's, kids expensive. Yeah, for sure. Tammy, one more. What's the most expensive thing your kid broke? Tammy said, when I was like 6, my family took me to a friend's family farm, right? There were 2 girls there who were a little older than me, and one of them came up with this great idea to see who could get the biggest rock over this Jeep Grand Cherokee parked by the barn.
Oh, no. That is a bad game.
Long story short, one of the girls took a massive rock and put it right through the rear window. I still get anxiety to this day when it replays in my head.
I'm getting anxiety right now. Just imagining that.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. And just the look on all their faces like, oh.
Yeah,
you know that just the air gets sucked out of your lungs, and you immediately think, "Oh, Mom, Dad, gotta kill me."
All right, and then last one, Stacy, my Mustang windshield after we just replaced it, threw a rock in a tree to get the cat out. The tree was above the car. Law of physics. What goes up must come down. Crack, smash, boom.
Oh, what a great plan to throw a rock at the cat.
Yeah. And what are you going to do if you hit the cat?
Right. Gosh, that was a bad plan all the way around.
All right, good stories there on 99.7 DJX.